What's going on, everybody? Mike here. If you'd like to join the ever-growing Fly Casual community, please take a moment right now to subscribe to our channel and share with a friend.
Hey,
time to do the top 4, top 5. We need Jason Reitman to come resurrect the ghost of Dick Clark so we can do a rockin' top 4, top 5 right now. You know, or maybe
Casey Kasem.
maybe just like pump Ryan Seacrest full of pills. You have him come out and do it. Top 4, top 5. You guys ready to do this? You ready to hit this? All right, ladies and gentlemen. What we decided is because everybody at the end of the year, every publication on the web, everybody's like, all right, we're going to do our top 15 video games of the year. We're going to do the top 10 movies of the year. We're going to do the top 10 top songs of the year. We're going to do top this, top that, top of the year, because we got to look back and make sure that we didn't hate ourselves as much as we all seem to on social media for the last years. That's how we all find some unity and also something else to argue about. It's a New Year's tradition.
Yes.
So we decided we're not going to argue. There might be some arguments. We said we're all going to do our own top 5. And we're not going to restrict it to this year. We're just going to say right now in this year, this is our top 5 anything of all time.
And right now, we know Garrick is going to be talking about Jeeps.
You guys like Jeeps? You guys like Jeeps? Top 5 Jeeps, baby.
Oh, man, I am so excited. But I would rather than jump right into the Jeeps, because I really want to leave people hungry for Jeeps.
That means Garrick's going last.
I hate to do this twice in the same episode, but I want to start us off.
No, you don't hate to do it twice. You're just
do.
saying that just to temporary.
By getting it out of the way, I can pay
anger.
more attention to your crap without forgetting my crap.
You always have an excuse.
Yep, I always do. Got one in the gun, ready to go.
Yep.
You got to keep that thing loaded with those excusey salt pellets.
You know what you don't do to somebody that you don't do it to.
Yeah, you never BS a BSer.
Yep.
Yep. That's the lesson right there. But in the meantime, I've got my personal top 5, and I thought long and hard about this, you guys. Like, I was seriously
That's what she said.
trying to figure out
She was looking at it.
what
She's
on
like,
earth my top 5
I'm really
could
thinking long
possibly
and hard
be.
about that.
So now I didn't actually spend any time at all coming up with it. I just thought about, like, what's it going to be for like a long time. And then I was at work and I printed some stuff off and I couldn't find a stapler anywhere. And so I had to go borrow someone else's stapler. I'm like, I had been here a couple months. I really need to get myself a stapler. Did today. Got a new stapler.
Yep.
It's a metal swing line stapler. Very happy with that. But I decided that my top 5, just to give the reader or the listener some idea of how completely random this is, would be the top 5 use of staplers in cinema.
Whoa.
Of all time.
Of all time?
All right.
All right. So let's get it out of the way. Number 1, I'm going to do reverse order, but we're going to get number 1 out of the way because everybody knows number 1 is going to be Stephen Root as Milton in Office Space.
Yep, right. Yeah, red swing line, blah, blah, blah.
But now what some people may not know, I think most people our age know, but younger people might not know, that the character of Milton actually started on Saturday Night Live. And it was an animation. It was Mike Judge doing little animated bits. You come back from commercial and you suddenly get this little animated bit. Milton would be like, well, I'm going to set the building on fire. And I think it was Mike Judge actually voicing him. Mike Judge, of course, was was behind Office Space and then hired Stephen Root to play the same character that had been in these goofy animations on Saturday Night Live. And yes, he's obsessed with his red swing line stapler and won't let anybody touch it and then eventually just burns the building down. Because he is so antisocial and every office has got to have one of those weirdos around that no one else feels quite comfortable with. So Stephen Root, who I love in literally everything I've ever seen him in, was just too.
I love that guy.
He is. Good old Jimmy James from the news radio. But yeah, the red swing line stapler. That's
he was in
number
Our Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes,
that?
he was. He's the
into that tin can over there.
He was the blind seer or whatever from the Odyssey.
No, he was the blind recorder.
Well, yeah, he was a blind radio station dude. Yeah. What then recorded them by having them singing a Yon Can and paying $5 a piece. But mercy, yes, we got to get ahead of that competition. So that is number 1. So we're going to back her up We're going to back her up from there. All right. Number 5. Number 5 is when in The Wrestler, which is the movie that Mike and I saw together simply because we have a lusty,
yes, sir,
decades-long appreciation for Marissa Tomei.
Yellow.
Was the scene where Mickey Rourke tells the other dude, okay, in this wrestling match, just use a staple gun on me.
Oh, yes. Oh, geez. Yes.
Yeah, they're wrestling, and the dude just whips out the staple gun and just like right into him as like that's one of their moves.
This is the old wrestling back in the 80s, where they, guys would end up all bloodied all over the thing,
Well, this is post that.
Hidden razors and stuff under their hands.
Yeah, they have a razor in their gloves. They could slice their brow open and blood pour down their face and stuff. No, it's fine. Everything's fine. I can't feel anything anymore. But yeah, the guy just taking a staple gun right into his shoulder, like just standing over him and just kerchunk, and it's painful.
Wow.
And awful. And speaking of painful and awful, that brings us to number 4. Excuse me. Number 4. Garrick will appreciate this, I think.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Y'all like the Alien franchise?
I do.
Yeah, Garrick's big Alien fan now.
Oh, yeah.
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
In Prometheus, she climbs into the robot surgery tube and has a xenomorph abortion. A xenomorph, late-term abortion inside this thing where it rips the alien out of her. But then it's got to close her up. And this robot arm just comes in and just staples her stomach shut.
Oh.
It is brutal as all get out and probably my favorite scene.
Spoiler alert, didn't matter because she died.
Yeah. Didn't matter.
She got ripped open anyway.
Her hologram stuck around for another film. So, number 2.
Yes.
Number
2 use of stapling in a movie, Home Alone. But specifically, Home Alone 2.
Yeah, Home Alone 2.
Because Home Alone 2, you got Daniel Stern poking through the keyhole, and he catches a staple that shoots right through it while he's looking into it and goes right into his nose. You think it's going to go right into his eye, so you're clenching even harder. But yeah, it shoots through the keyhole and stabs him right in the nose.
I couldn't handle if it went into his eye.
No.
Nope.
No.
Oh.
No, I think they would have gotten a different rating for Home Alone 2
Here's
Lost
an
in New York.
interesting fact. Home Alone is on the movies that made us. It's a great episode.
I can't wait to watch that. I've had a few people bring up that show now, and I still haven't watched it, and that's going to be probably one of my holiday bingers.
So good.
So that brings us to number 2. This last one.
Here we go.
Number 2, I have got to say, is another Christmas favorite. Christmas Vacation, because it's one of the all-time quintessential Chevy Chase moments when he's up trying to string up the ridiculous number of lights and he staples his sleeve and glove
That's right.
to the roof of his own home. Because I don't know, Chevy Chase has this way of just making simple things hilarious. As much as he's like supposedly just horrible to work with and a total beehole and like, got in a fist fight with Bill Murray back on the he's been a butthole for life, right? He's got this way. Like I'm going to bring up a weird movie for you. I should probably looked at the name of it. You guys remember that movie where Gina Davis was like in a plane crash and she's rescued by Dustin Hoffman, but she has no idea who her rescuer was. So she's a reporter. So they're all making
have shoes.
Yeah. He doesn't need $100 shoes here because he ruins his shoes in the mud. And so they're like, this big thing is finding, Hero.
That's it.
Yeah. They're trying.
That was a Jet Li movie.
I'm pretty sure there's more than one, but they're trying to. The whole movie is they're trying to find who was her rescuer that pulled her out of this plane before it exploded. You know what I mean? After it crashed and all that stuff. There's a Chevy Chase is her lead editor or whatever, and the Perry White, if you will, and he's visiting her in the hospital. And they do this great camera angle where it's from her point of view, like at pillow level, looking up at him, towering over her. And someone had sent a vase of roses that's sitting on the hospital cart thing that's over her legs. And he's arranging the roses for like 5 minutes. It's going back and forth from her face to him and the two people on either side of him, back and forth, back and forth. And the roses are getting progressively worse and worse and worse in each shot. But because he's talking, you're focused on what he's saying, and you have to realize it's Chevy Chase. And that he's actually doing this brilliant comedic thing where he's just doing a normal thing that's just awful. And it cracks me up every time I see it. You used to be on cable all the time in high school, which is why I remember that. But same thing here in Christmas Vacation, where he's just up doing a normal thing. But yeah, you get the falling off the ladder and all that. And of course, it's a movie. That's the way it's going to end. But I'm laughing harder at just the way he's reacting to stapling himself to the roof. in that whole scene. And I freaking love it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The 2019 top 5 uses of staples in a movie of all time.
Those are some good staplings right there.
I did a lot of homework.
Yeah.
Meaning I came up with this idea, Googled it, and someone else had already done my homework for me.
Nice.
And-
That's what I did with Jeeps.
Well, in this case, there were a couple other ones on the list that I was like, meh, I can pare it down. We got to be a 5er here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got to narrow it down to 5.
Who wants to
Not
go
6,
next?
not 4.
I think Howie wants to go next.
Howie.
Howard.
All right, I'll
Howard
go
Hughes.
next.
Clear it
There
out
we
there
go.
first.
Yep.
Old.
What a hiss. We're a lot of hissing today.
There was a lot of hissing on that man.
Like a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Tonks needs to settle down.
I hope since I'm going next that I'm actually taking one of your two.
No.
That should be awesome.
Is
It's
it
not
Jeeps?
Jeeps, is it?
Yeah, I'm doing the top 5 Jeeps
Oh,
Oh.
of all time.
Of all time.
Actually, I chose top 5 Wilhelm screams.
No.
Oh, you took mine.
I hope I
Nah, just
did.
kidding.
Top 5 Wilhelm Jeeps.
Wilhelm Jeeps. I like that. So I'm,
Don't drive him through a hospital zone.
Yeah, you just beep the horn.
I'm not one for a lot of exposition, nor am I one for a lot of explaining. So here we go.
Why are you explaining it?
I'm following Corey,
he's really big on prefacing.
but I am
Got it.
very big on prefacing. I like to preface my prefacing.
He's a preface guy.
So number 5,
Number 5.
Team America, World Police.
Team America, World Police.
The first
America.
known puppet Wilhelm
Yeah.
scream.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the North Korean soldier falls off a balcony.
Weren't they technically marionettes?
Well,
A marionette is a puppet.
Is
You don't
it?
have to stick your hand up its butt for it to be a puppet.
Is it in the puppet genus?
It is, in fact.
and I'm sure they had puppet Jeeps.
Yes.
Oh, they did.
There were. There very much
Yeah,
were.
there were.
All right, number 4,
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Toy
I don't
Story.
know why I say
Oh,
Toy Story.
Which one? There's been like 10 of them, right?
Toy Story, the first one.
The first
The motion
one. Okay.
picture.
Yeah, when Buzz
Toy
Light,
Story, the motion
the
picture.
Is
motion
that the one
picture.
where Spock flies through space for like
Yes.
3 hours and
Yeah.
it's like an LSD
Yep.
trip?
Yep. The
Okay,
whole
got
time.
it.
Buzz Lightyear falls out the window.
Mm-hmm. He is knocked out the window.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does get knocked out the window. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders.
Ooh,
they're
I like
the
that
Nazi
one.
soldier
screen.
falls out of the truck.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of Nazis falling out of trucks in that one.
Well,
Or, I mean, they're that.
I'm not going to nail down the time.
You can find the Wilhelm screen on your own.
Yes.
You can
Um,
timestamp this for me?
No.
Nope.
Doing it.
Oh, man.
Number 2,
Number 2, Wilhelm screen.
Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
There was a Wilhelm scream in
Yep,
Two Towers.
when one of the elves fall off the wall.
Oh, at Helm's Deep?
Yeah, at Helm's Deep.
Nice.
So, and the number 1, of course, Wilhelm scream of all time is in Star Wars: A New Hope when the stormtrooper
Yeah.
falls down the chasm.
The original.
Oh, not the one where Han went down the chute.
Honorable mention, anytime Kyle Katarn fell off of anything in Dark Forces.
Ah!
So there you have it, the top 5 Wilhelm screams.
Woohoo!
That was good.
Love
I
'em.
like that
That
one.
was good. That was good. Should we throw Jeeps at him or should we go to Mike? Let's go to Mike.
Aw.
Mine's pretty self-aggrandizing, so
The
maybe
top 5 things I did of all time.
maybe we should let me go last.
Top 5 poops that
Mike's
I had
good.
in the toilet.
Mike, we don't want to know girls you got to second base with.
December 14th.
5 farts.
That's right.
March 14th.
Which ironically goes with the
SB5.
five girl second base.
Just to eat like
They
a whole
all
case,
happen
crazy
together.
case of White Castle.
Mike gets a hand up a shirt. He gets gassy. Everybody knows it. It's old hat. Mike, what is it? What you got for us?
Seriously, I should go last.
Oh,
All
you
right.
really? Okay. All right. All
I'll
right.
go.
Unless Garrick's
No.
is really.
Garrick, take the Jeeps home.
All right, here we go. Top 5. No, I didn't do Jeep.
Oh.
I was going to.
I
but
told
then
Corey it's about a 50-50 chance
I know,
you were actually
I
going to
know.
do Jeeps.
Yep,
I considered it, and I had a list already sent via text,
yes.
which was very good.
It started
Okay.
in jest, but got good.
It started because I wrote Jeep instead of keep, and I'm like, oh yeah. So it all started from a typo.
As most
I
things
know.
do.
That I didn't know.
There
I
you
thought
go.
it was just a brilliant, brilliant thing. But I should have
Yes,
known
that's
better.
right. It was not a typo. No, I'm doing the top 5 good boys and good girls of 2019.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
That's right. Top 5 courageous canines. Top 5 marvelous mutts.
Marvelous
Top
Mutts.
5 daring doggos.
Yep.
That's right. So I searched the web for the top 5 doggy stories of 2019.
I thought you were going to say doggy style, so I'm glad you went with stories.
Doggy style, right? Pornhub. Here's the address. You ready? No. Number 5,
The Pentaveret
doggo.
of Pups. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
a doggo named Nemo. So let me tell you a little bit about Nemo.
Tell me about
So
Nemo.
lives with his partner, his human partner, Tara, in Providence, Rhode Island.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do they
And
have a
as Tara
signed
was-
agreement?
So I can use Tara's words. So this is how she wrote it in the article about Nemo. So it sounds cliche, but I'm not sure if Nemo found me or if I found him.
Oh, here
The
we go.
truth is probably somewhere in between. I wanted a dog my entire life, but wasn't sure when the right time to adopt one was. That's where my job comes in. I work as a nurse practitioner in a pediatric palliative care. Some of our patients are in the hospital for a long time. One day a patient said, "You should really have a dog on your team. It would be perfect." This sent me on a mission. I spent months researching resident dog programs. I had applications at many local shelters and hoped everything would fall into place. That's when Potter League for Animals called me, and that's when Tara found Nemo. So Nemo gets his name from, of course, Little Nemo, not the Jules Verne novel. And he went through training to become a support animal for terminally ill children in the Hasbro Children's Hospital. That's right. Hasbro sponsors a children's hospital, the toy manufacturer, in Providence,
Thanks.
Rhode Island.
Thanks for clarifying.
So here's why Nemo makes the list. So sometimes if a kid's having a hard time getting out of bed, Tara and Nemo will do PT with them and say, "Hey, do you want to take the dog for a walk?" And the kid has no trouble getting out of bed and giving the dog for a walk. There was one kid who had lost his voice for a little bit, and they actually helped him out by telling him to give Nemo commands like doing tricks and stuff. And then I think the biggest story that is in this article that I read is they once had a terminally ill child who was very sleepy, and whenever he opened his eyes, he would say Nemo, and Nemo would lay in the bed with him, and they slept together.
Oh.
Each day he would ask for Nemo, and Nemo would lay with him. And then on the day of his passing, that boy had fundraised for his Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Tara found out he wanted all the money to go to the Potter League's home for animals where Nemo had come from.
Oh.
And that's why Nemo is a good boy.
He's a
Good
good
boy.
boy. He's a big sweetie.
This is number 5.
Yeah, we have
I just went through like a top 20 emotional roller coaster.
Number
Oh, my
4.
Lord,
Oh, no.
I don't trust Garrick. The last one's gonna
Serenity.
get hit by a car and die in somebody's arms and
Dog's name is Serenity.
bite its owner.
Serenity.
Serenity. Sometimes the best good boy is really a good girl, and sometimes the best good girl is Canadian, and that good Canadian girl is Serenity. Some girls will give everything they have, even when they have been given nothing. You see, Serenity was a stray, and no one knew where she came from, and she may had passed quickly without anyone being aware of her existence, if it weren't for one cold Canadian night. On that night, a passing motorist spotted Serenity, the dog, curled up on the side of the road. And as all good Canadians, the unnamed driver stopped to check out the pile of fur, fearing for the worst. But as the driver approached Serenity, she lifted her head and gave the driver a plaintive look. The Good Samaritan stooped over to let the dog get used to their scent, and she found a remarkable surprise. They found when Serenity finally stood up that she had curled up around 5 newborn kittens. With daytime temperatures in Ontario, Canada reaching freezing, there is little doubt that the kittens would not have survived that night if Serenity had not protected them with their warming heat from her body. And you'd be happy to know the kittens are now staying with a foster family until they're old enough to be adopted. And Serenity found a forever home where she will be loved and cared for the rest of her years.
We're not going to let Garrick pick anything.
That's why Serenity's a good girl.
She's such a good girl. She's such a big sweetie.
My eye itches, and I'm afraid to itch it because I think people think I'm crying.
Yeah. But and then it's the floodgates. You've already, you're glassy.
Yeah.
You're glassy. I can see it from here, buddy.
It's my itchy eye.
You are a liar.
It's your eye.
You're a lying liar who lies. That was number 4.
3.
Oh, my Lord.
Number 3, Jeannie. So let me tell you about Jeannie. Jeannie is a 3-legged rescue dog who was rescued from being homeless and crippled and was certified soon after as a therapy dog. See, Jeannie was rescued from a rural area in southern Louisiana when she was 5 months old, and she had a deformed leg and a vet had to amputate it. Now Jeannie
That's
works
the
for
sound
the
of Howie getting drunk.
the Children's Advocacy Center, where she comforts children who are questioned by detectives while working on physical and sexual abuse cases, violent crimes, and even homicides. She and her owner volunteer at hospitals, schools, nursing homes, reading programs, and veterans home, where Jeannie bonds with fellow amputees. Jeannie attends counseling sessions with amputees and children's grief therapy groups. She comforts students during finals week and visits schools' special education classes. Jeannie spent a day with traumatized elementary students who witnessed the shooting in their classroom. She helped an apprehensive child speak to officers when they've witnessed a murder or suicide. And she even volunteers at depressed veterans' homes. So you could say Jeannie's has seen some shit, but that doesn't stop her from coming back over and over again to bring in her warmth and her smile to everyone who need it. That's why Jeannie's a good girl. Yes, you are. Jeannie's a good girl. Jeannie's a good girl. Yes, you are.
I'm quitting the podcast. I'm going to go upstairs and hang out with my dog.
Well, that's only...
I quit.
Number 2, Peanut.
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 He's such a
what
peanut.
a nice name, Peanut.
Tasty.
He's so sweet. Yes, you are, Peanut. So
Peanut was made peanut butter alone on a highway.
Peanut's original name was Petunia, and she arrived at the shelter with broken legs, a belly full of carpet, broken ribs, all injuries that happened at different times.
A belly full of carpet?
Eating carpet.
She was so hungry she was eating carpet. Though her injuries were severe, she eventually healed, but she never bit or growled or did anything but show remarkable love for the people who were taking care of her. Her former owner was eventually tracked down and was recently convicted of animal abuse. Son of a bitch. Petunia finally found a forever home, and she has a new name, Peanut. One day, about 11 a.m. one morning, Peanut started going crazy at her house. She was running up and down the stairs, barking and yelping. She went and got her owners, one of which she was working on some projects in the garage, and alerted him that she wanted to go outside immediately. He said he could hear her running up and down the stairs, but he didn't understand why. It turns out there was a very good reason for Peanut's behavior. The dog apparently sensed something was amiss outside. He led her outside, where she went barreling into the field behind the house at full speed. Her owner followed her, and to his surprise, he found a naked, shivering, and on the edge of hypothermia, 3-year-old girl laying in the snow, curled up in a ball.
Oh, my God.
He scooped her up, wrapped her in a sweatshirt, and brought her inside, and immediately called 911 and reported the incident. By the time the ambulance and police arrived, the little girl could only say one thing: doggy. One of the officers who responded to the scene said action was taken immediately by Child Protective Services to remove the child and a sibling from their home. So Peanut not only saved the life of one young girl, but ended up pulling her and her sibling out of a horrible situation. And that's why Peanut's a good girl.
You asked to follow this. You wanted to follow this.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, hopefully Mike will make us feel better.
I didn't drink enough before we came in. I mean, I had some, but not enough.
Not
I'll save the best for last.
Oh.
I'll save the best for last, guys.
All right, here we go.
wait.
Number one.
No, wait. On this scale, I don't want to know what the best is.
No, we're in Nana. It's a happy note. I wouldn't do that to you guys.
Yeah, well,
You
screw
are
you.
a
Or would
liar.
I?
You are a
You're the
blind.
biggest liar of lies.
bastard.
Number one, Nanook. Let me tell you the story about Nanook. One day, 21-year-old Amelia Milling had been on a solo 3-day hike through Alaskan wilderness in June when she slipped in some snow and started to fall. After falling for about 300 feet, she crashed into a boulder and tumbled down another 300 feet.
Ouch.
When she finally came to a stop, she was dazed, bruised, and bleeding.
And laying next to the corpse of the Goblin King.
That's when Nanook the husky showed up. When reporters asked her about her story, Milling says she thought the 7-year-old dog was a wolf until she saw he had a collar and a dog tag stating he was a Crow Pass guide. The injured Tennessee college student inferred the dog was there to help her, and she was correct. Nanook led Milling back to the trail and hiked with her until it got dark, and she pitched camp. The husky then stayed with her throughout the night until she continued her journey the next day. She later said, "He gave me the motivation to get up and walk another 7 miles." Milling said, "If he didn't show up, I probably wouldn't have made it back up and kept walking." Nanook, also known as Nookie, came to Millie's rescue again when they came across the freezing, fast-moving river. After watching Nookie cross the water, Milling gauged the situation and believed she could follow suit. She tried to cross it once, only to fail. When she tried to cross a second time, she lost her footing and got pulled into the current. For 15 minutes, she struggled against the water until finally Nanook grabbed a strap of her backpack with his teeth and started pulling her to shore. Milling finally got to a place where she could use her Spot GPS rescue device so that Alaskan state troopers could find her. For hours, she remained curled up on the riverbank alongside Nanook. Finally, a rescue helicopter spotted her red sleeping bag and airlifted her to a medical facility. A state trooper then took Nanook back to the address that was listed on his dog tag. The dog's owner, Scott Swift, listened to a recounting of the incredible events that had transpired, and he was stunned. This is what he says. "I was definitely pretty floored. It sends chills up my spine when I think about it. I certainly didn't train him to do anything like this. It's pretty powerful feeling that this dog had this instinctual ability to want to help people. And this is not the first time Nanook has rescued a distressed hiker either. After Milling's story started being shared by the news outlets, others came forward with news of the dog's bravery. One traveler said the husky had rescued their child from the same river from which he rescued Milling. More surprisingly, Swift said Nanook was never even trained as a rescue dog. He just adopted the pet from a Walmart parking lot. Swift has
Like you do.
Like you do.
They have since created a Facebook page for people to share their own Nanook stories, and the stories are continually shared there to this day. And they're even coming up with a Sony documentary about the story. And that's why Nanook is a good boy. Yes, you are, Nanook. You're a good boy. Yes, you are.
Nanook, actually, a lot of people know this. I was bitten by Nanook.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and I gained radioactive rescue dog powers.
Oh.
So,
Nice.
yeah, little known fact
So
about
that's
me.
the top 5 daring
You
doggos
suck, Garrick.
Number
of 2019.
my first instinct, of course, is we don't deserve dogs. Commonly said throughout the internet. And my second instinct is that Garrick is a beehole from hell. So
But you're good boy, you're good. Oh, good
I'm
boy.
allergic to my dog, and I want to go up and just bury my face in her right now.
Yeah. It's amazing what dogs do for us, man. Man's and women's best friend.
Noise.
All my dog wants to do is get at that neighbor cat real bad.
Yeah.
But the neighbor cat, I think, has a crush on my dog because she keeps bringing dead animals in perfect condition and leaving them outside.
Forbidden love.
I think the cat's like, we got a Romeo and Juliet situation, but like Juliet is like frothing pissed.
That's about how that
Yep.
went, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. Yeah. So, anyhow, Mike, any chance of us going into the new year with anything other than abject,
a little bit lighter,
like
on a lighter note,
like some like weird Xeno guilt thing?
All right, you guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
This one is going to be a little closer to home. And when I say self-aggrandizing, I don't mean me personally. I mean, this is a podcast self-aggrandizing.
What?
Top 5. So I have put together the top 5 firsts on Fly Casual Podcast.
How much time did you put into researching whatever bullcrap?
It took. I had some of this logged, so
Okay.
not as long as you might think. So,
Okay.
but all right. So number 5, ready to go?
Yep.
Let's do it.
This would be all right. So hopefully we're all queued up.
These
here.
are
Should be.
Okay.
Top 5 fly casual moments.
Yes. All right.
All of
So
them.
number 5.
I've been-
This would be the first time on the podcast that we said, "Let's get ready to rancor."
Oh,
There
man.
we go. This is from episode 2 back in 2014.
Wow.
I need another R or WR word.
R or WR word.
Yeah, something Star Wars related.
We should call it. So we have to call it Star Battles.
That's how crappy Garrick sounds.
Let's get ready to rank. Yeah, let's get ready to rancor. Welcome, welcome, worldwide listeners. All of you lovely, lovely listeners from all over the glorious.
I used to be really into the listeners, but you guys have not aged well.
I do sound terrible because what was that? What episode was that?
That was 2.
2. So I think I was recording from a Rock Band microphone hanging from a coat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That is accurate. No, that is not a joke. That sounds like a Garrick joke, but it's not.
I wasn't sure if we were going to do this for a long
Why
time.
would I
and
invest
didn't wanna
money
put-
in something we're
I
going to
didn't
put?
want to invest money in it.
Yep. And our microphones were hanging, our spider mounts were made out
Man.
of green bean cans and hair
That's
ties.
right.
We got
Yeah,
one
There's
right
one,
here.
there's one
Yeah,
right
right
up,
up here.
hanging
Rigged,
up over
yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I had to put one on display.
It's beautiful.
That's when we were basically in a closet.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. We were all still in
Oh,
the
man.
closet together.
Yeah. I was in a closet in my guest room.
Yep.
There were
all in
times
the
I had to
closet.
open the door because it got warm
Yeah.
at times.
And
Oh,
stinky.
Yeah. 3 guys. Yeah. Mhm.
Brother.
All right. So number 4.
All right, number 4.
This is the first Porkins bite of the week.
Oh, no.
From
Ooh.
episode 5, August 2014.
Hey, since we're wrapping up news, we have a new segment that we'd like to introduce to everybody. We're really excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially time for the Porkins Bite of the Week.
Again? I mean, not again.
That's funky.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Did you know the dude what played Porkins also played the dude in Indiana Jones who said top men?
What?
That was when Porkins was actually Porkins.
Oh, we all sounded so young and naive
Oh,
back
man.
Yeah.
I'm
You can only set your sights to look forward to.
We couldn't even grow beards back then.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's an
Every
interesting
week, baby, we're
piece
going
of
to bring you
trivia.
a
That's right.
Porkins Bite of the Week.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Well, that's why people really come to a Star Wars podcast.
Right.
Is I
Rest in
want to know
peace.
more about Jack Porkins. Well, Sweet Pea, look no further.
A ton of Porkins.
Tunnel Porkins.
Tunnel Porkins.
Mama gonna fill your belly with Porkins.
Oh, yeah.
You know she is.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know that Porkins kid, while making his way through high school, has not lost any of his anticlimacticness.
At all. Yeah. And he's still a kid. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. After 6 years.
He's got to be ready to vote in the next election. I'm not sure.
Getting close. He's got to be getting close.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, this is the first time on the podcast that and this took us a while to get to what our closing was going to be, right?
I have no memory of any of
the first
this.
jelly?
This is the
yes.
first time that we
Yeah.
said jelly.
Oh,
real
where did you
podcast.
find that?
Episode what?
Oh.
This is episode 10 from October
Okay.
2014.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
But if we're done, Dick. There's Petrie over there, and of course, Garrick is somewhere in South
Over the
Africa or
pond.
something.
Sups up
That's what they say there. So,
all the
cool.
time.
Thanks for joining us. Check back in real quick. We out.
See ya.
Don't laugh at that. That was a legitimate attempt. That was a legitimate attempt, and you start cracking up like I went jelly.
What was wrong with that?
I don't get it.
Oh, when
That's it. You know what?
When you
Just
listen
for
back
that,
to it,
just
you'll
for that, I
know
am
that.
going to say jelly from now on.
You're hoping you would.
And he did.
Jelly.
I'm glad to know that most of our traditions have come out of just my spite for the rest of you. That makes me
That's
happy.
pretty much what it was. It's like, screw you. I'm saying jelly
I'm
every
gonna say
time now.
jelly. I could not, before listening to that, I could not in a million years have guessed why I've been saying jelly for the last 5. I would not be able to tell you. I had no idea. I had not even think to question it.
It just happened at some point,
Yeah.
and that's it. So,
Oh, just stuck.
Oh, well, I think we
Alright.
talked about how it's hard to close out the show sometimes.
yes. Oh, yeah. We
And then-
tried from almost from like the very first episode.
And we talked about cherry jelly and the jams and jellies
Yes.
at one point.
Yeah.
Well, I
prior.
think that was that may have been that episode
Yeah.
that we earlier in the podcast we were talking about
I mean,
jams
how
and
do you-
jellies
How
at
do
the
you,
beginning
how
of
do
the
you end a
podcast.
podcast? Yeah, and here's mud in your eye. I mean, what do you do? You know?
You said
Yeah.
jelly.
Yeah,
you
now it's
say
jelly.
That's right.
All right. So number 2, this is the first appearance of the Fly Casual Glee Club.
Oh, yes.
This is from episode 16. I won't play the whole song. We'll just get a little taste, but this is the introduction. Is probably the funnier part. So this is November 2014.
Oh, thank you very much for that compliment, you bastard.
So
geek.
I have to explain something, you guys.
Uh-oh.
The holidays are coming up.
What?
Yeah, Garrick told us back in July.
I was ready back then. Around the corner. Episode 1.
Hanukkah's right around the corner.
And someone reached out to me
Saturnalia.
and said that it's a friend of Papa Jen and said that he would like to put together a musical group. He used the words Glee Club,
Okay.
a Fly Casual Glee Club.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully they don't kick anybody in the Jimmy John's.
I'm just saying. And I said, well, I tell you what, why don't you submit to me something that you can do, and let's see, you know, what you're capable of. So he said, well, I'll put something together first. And so what he's done, he's decided to provide us with Christmas music
Oh,
to complement our episodes as we get closer to the holidays.
okay.
So I told him, I said, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll air it and we'll see how it goes.
I'm scared. I don't remember what this song is.
I've not listened to this yet. Oh, boy. I had to process with-
Strap in,
Be
folks.
dangerous.
But yeah, this is gonna be.
Is this the reviews section?
But we fly casual.
Josh
so
is
go ahead.
on
we fly
Cover
casual.
over that bleep
We
button.
do.
That's exactly how it goes. All right, here we go.
You know, Bane, Insidious, and Vectorous, and Venomous.
Now I remember.
Maul, and Tyrannous, and Plagueis, and Tenebrous. But do you recall the most angsty Sith Lord of all? Vader, the whiny Sith Lord, very nasally tone. And if you ever heard it, you'd probably roll your eyes and groan. All of the other
Wow. My ears are bleeding for so many reasons right now. You know what? There's a big Glee Club special coming.
Yes.
Actually, no.
I didn't know
think,
if that was going to be on there
I think
or
it's.
not.
I think it's already. I think at this point it will have already aired. And
okay.
so we're apologies to everybody for exposing you to that
Twice.
again.
All right. So then my number 1.
Oh,
this
this
is
better be good.
this is a little more recent. I really couldn't come up with a good first, so I had to stretch a little bit. This is episode 200,
Oh heavens!
Wow.
also known as
Still my favorite
no.
episode.
also known as my
time.
bachelor party.
Yep.
And this is the first and only time so far that both Garrick and I were drunk as fuck on the podcast.
Right.
Who warned Chewbacca not to touch the dead animal he discovered?
Oh, son of a
Oh,
bitch.
Han Solo.
No, I can't.
It wasn't fair, Mike.
Spin for him. Spin for him.
Can't.
No,
No.
was it Luke?
You got
Blue.
Can't think. It was Luke, right?
No.
He hasn't even
Han.
answered yet.
No, yes, it was Han.
Yeah, that's what. That was my first.
It was.
Yeah.
You said Luke.
Yeah, it
Oh, I
was.
said Han, and then I was waffling, and then I.
You said it out loud. You can't
Okay.
think out loud.
All right,
said Han
guys.
Solo.
What's your answer?
Han Solo.
It's Luke. Garrick gets the drink.
That's not for you. That's for but you need
The
the
next one's for you.
I'm rolling.
I can't. I'm done.
Technically, it's a special.
Garrick
We'll say
got
it's
a blue.
closer to blue.
Oh, this is not going to be good. I can't. Because I'm done. I know my limit. I know my limit.
You have to.
One more. It's not going to be good.
Uno mas.
I'll give you this question. Then you can drink. Who was the captain of Princess Leia's consular ship?
Oh.
He knows it, and he's mad that he's too drunk to think of it.
Captain Antilles.
Captain and Chili.
Good job, Mike. You got it.
I haven't listened to that one since it came out. Oh, my
Oh,
So
t-shirt.
there's your top 5.
That rescued me from
And there's-
Garrett's Rescue Dogs.
There's a beautiful song that came afterwards
there was,
that
yes.
I'm
There
sure you can
was.
find.
Which
Which
somewhere.
was actually on our
I
think
may
that was our
have
tag.
it here. Waste a moment, would you?
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Because I'm pretty sure if I can. No, seriously, keep talking.
Hey,
Say a
yeah.
thing.
You guys are so drunk,
Oh my gosh.
that was.
and we
I
had
got
some
more-
wonderful Taco Bell
More
afterwards.
comments from coworkers about that episode.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one and only time that I basically heard Garrick beg for Taco Bell. he normally schools us on why we're grown men and we don't eat Taco Bell
Yeah,
anymore.
that's not. Yeah, it's not
That's
for
a young
grown
man's
kids.
game, right?
It's for kids.
Until you're drunk.
Teenagers.
Except for that night
and
where he
college
was like,
kids.
he's like, "Where's Howie? Did he go to get Taco
Once you
Bell?"
hit 30, Taco Bell is out of your league.
He's like, no, he like before Howie left to go get Taco Bell, he was like, oh, that'd be really great, dude. No, that's really awesome of you. Yeah. And then Howie leaves and he's like, we should get some Taco Bell. And we're like, dude, Howie went to go get it. He's like, oh, that's right. Howie's the best. And then 30 seconds passes. Where's Howie with my fucking Taco Bell?
That's the only time Taco Bell sounds good is when I'm drinking with
Drunk
Howie.
as-
And he uses my drunkenness against me.
Yeah.
It works every
Advantage of me.
time.
That's not inaccurate.
It's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I'm having trouble finding it. The
No.
app actually crashed on me. Just
Oh
now.
no!
Nope, that's
No.
not it.
That would not
not
be it.
No.
What was
No.
it? What song was it set to, Howie?
It's the Imperial,
Imperial
March.
March. I mean,
I've got it here somewhere too.
We didn't know we had to prepare for this.
No. Wow. Yeah, no, I don't know where it's hiding on here somewhere, but I don't know where. It just crashed on me again.
It
Oh, well.
really does not like
This
going.
iPad is old as sin, and the app is old as sin.
Oh, I got it.
There it is. All right,
All right. Well,
cue it up.
Are you ready?
Let's hear it. Yep.
we can do this on the way out.
No, I can't. No, I can't. I know my limit, and I'm at my limit. I don't want. What if I don't want? 'Cause I'm done. This is not gonna be good. I can't. No, yes, it was hard. No. One more. It's not gonna be good.
It's not gonna be good.
Suck it up, baby. Suck it up.
There you go.
I need to listen to that episode again. Had a lot of gang in the house for that one. In the meantime,
yeah.
it's great. Have been having you, our gang, in this house with us. thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for another wonderful year of Fly Casual. Of course, this year being enhanced by the fact that we've got that straight up Discord thing going on where we can interact and you can interact with us.
Wars.
We love chit-chatting with you guys. You guys are the absolute best. And if you're not on our Discord, you should join us because we have a lot of good conversation, jokes, talks about all kinds of different things, not just Star Wars, obviously, movies, TV,
Dank memes.
music, the dankest of
The
memes.
dankest of the dank.
That's
Yes.
my favorite thing.
That's right.
The danker, the better. That's what I
spoiler,
always say.
speculation, the whole 9 yards. While Dark Joe Pesci also posts like poker things that go way over my head, like so far over my head, and I want so bad
I
to
got
understand, but I don't at all. So, in the meantime, won't you join us there? You can find the link on the website, betterkind.com. If you're with us on Twitter at FlyCasual1138, you can check it out. The Discord link's in the profile there too, and on Facebook, and of course, especially YouTube, where Mike's been uploading more digestible elements of the podcast in snippets and subjects on a YouTube page, which is the Fly Casual Podcast, right?
That's right. Fly
On
Casual
the
Podcast.
YouTube. So
Yeah.
like, subscribe, ring bells, fondle balls. I don't know how it works. I don't keep up with it very well. I use a Roku
All
and
the
it
above.
barely works. So do that better than I do. I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. I really do. I mean, if anybody knows you, I know you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know where you
I'm watching
live.
you.
Truth.
I've seen you change in the
It's
window.
like Santa
We
Claus.
put a tracker on this podcast, so anybody who downloads it, we know exactly where you are at all
Gotcha.
times.
Yep.
Bam.
Too late now.
Boom.
You already listened.
Bam.
That's
bitches.
how a bunch of idiots with no resources get your info. You're welcome.
So
So
we sell it to Facebook.
that's
you already have
right.
it.
Yeah, so that the robot in charge can sell it to other people. So in the meantime, let's run out wherever you get the podcast. Give us a nice little review so we can reach more people just like you, because we're not stopping anytime soon. You want to know why? Because we're in our 40s and we have nothing better to do. So you're
That's
stuck
right.
with us.
That's right.
So in the meantime, I'm Corey. Over there's Mike.
yeah, here the kids like the Insta, so we're on Instagram too.
Oh, we're on
Insta.
Insta too?
Yeah,
Should I follow us on the Insta?
you should.
That'll be
Are we on
like
TikTok?
4 people I follow
TikTok,
on the
baby.
Insta.
TikTok.
TikTok's on my list.
All right. There you go. I'll get to it by the time I retire. And over there's Howie.
That was a great top 3, top 5,
That
guys.
was a great top 3, top 5. Do you remember that bottom 1, top 5? Where it was actually really, it was like The
Yeah.
Last Jedi. Arguably, people might really like it a lot, but it just leaves you feeling bad.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good boy. Such a good boy.
All right, shut up, Garrick. We are jelly.
You're good, yes you
Don't worry about them, Garrick. You're still a big sweetie to me. You're a big sweetie.
Who's so fluffy? Who's so fluffy? Oh, is this popcorner? I love this song.
Some of those sound so relieving, and other ones sound
Oh,
like,
that last one
that
was
last
a
one.
little bit
Oh, man,
iffy.
I got to check my underwear, guys.
It's been too long since we've used it.
ow.